All right, folks, it is Monday night. It is time for another live Q&A, actually the last one of the year. We've got 2 more days and that's going to be it. But yeah, welcome. Today is a hat day because I didn't do my hair, so you get to see me with the hat. I don't know what's happened in the news. Anything that's happened in the news lately? Interesting, I guess. Some FCC stuff. We've got a video coming up on that. I'm going to move my computer here so you can see the lava lamp. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions about this FCC stuff. There's still a lot of unknowns actually about this FCC stuff. So we'll have to kind of take it one day at a time and figure out what is going to be the effect. As a reminder, and we talked about this in news update on Friday, but yeah, the FCC decided to add pretty much everyone who makes drones in a foreign country to the entity list, so to the covered list. And this is not something that anybody expected. And yeah, so now we have to kind of figure out, it was just not drone, it was also some critical components. So we've got hopefully a couple answers that are coming directly from the FCC. We through some channels submitted some questions and we'll see what happens. But yeah, interesting stuff. Let's say hi to a bunch of folks, and it feels like the lights are really bright today in here. Let me see. Let's say hi to Richard. Richard Hooker is here. Curtis Warren, James Cox. We have Thorol Inspired. Alexander Blankenship, Carl Becker, Engineer Drone Services, that's our friend Minot. Adam Weatherall, we have Carl, let me see who else. David is here, Joshua, Carl, I said that, Amelia, Air Drones, Leo de Cardenas, Carl again, who else? Drone Eagle, Fire Chief is here, Jason Williams, and we have Ralph as well, David Owen, Jim Schlusserman, Mountain Man. I see a lot of familiar names. Aeroscan 3D, Anoke Boomer, Cloud Camper, David Greeny. We have Foundex. We have, let's see, who else? R Loco Engineer, I guess. Hike and Fly. Honda Nick, we have Winslow Joy, Kelly C. Mart, Mark Saxon, let's see who else, Toad Pond, Paul Guidice, who else, B. Horning, it just jumped, PR27, who am I missing here, BEM 1962, FTO Media, Kitty Bobby. Oh, I see some new names. Well, welcome. If you're new here, what we do is for the next hour, we're going to answer all of your drone questions, at least to the best of our knowledge, and then go from here. I have to say this. I have to say that I'm really proud of this community, and I'll tell you why. We put this video out for News Update, and we do News Update every single Friday. We've done a News Update every single Friday since before Pilot Institute was even a company, and not missed a single day. And we put out a lot of videos every year on the YouTube channel. This is by far actually the most number of comments that we have gotten per view on this news update that we just posted, because a lot of you are obviously worried about what the FCC proposed, but this was the highest number of comments that I've ever seen per comment, per views on a video of ours. And not only that, there's a way now for AI to generate a little summary of the comments to help people when there's a lot of comments, to help content creators. And the summary is on par. It tells me that you guys are paying attention. I'm going to read you, let me see if I can find it very quickly here. I'm going to read you that summary. It says, Most commenters expressed significant concern and frustration over the FCC's decision. This is a summary of the comments that you guys left, over 600 comments on this video so far. Viewing it primarily as politically motivated and potentially devastating for hobbyists and commercial operators, with many questioning the logic and the feasibility of the new regulation. And there were three main points that people put in their comments: widespread disbelief and cynicism regarding the rationale, on point; perceived economic protectionism and corruption, on point; practical implications and legal challenges, on point as well. These were the three main points that kept coming back and back and back again on all the comments that you guys left. So I want to say I'm very proud, because I think, if anyone out there in the government was thinking that they could fool people into thinking that whatever they came up with was a rational decision, I'm sorry, but you failed. And so, yeah, it made me proud to see this, because it made me proud to see that this community is not getting roped into the lies of everybody who's been behind this thing, politicians and lobbyists. So you have it. Thank you for all the comments. I read all of them, I have to say, on Friday. I don't know what happened on Friday. I was by myself in the office. I got busy working on the project, and then by the end of the day, I realized I hadn't read any of the comments. I usually read the comments throughout the day on the YouTube videos, especially on Friday, and it took me a long time to read through all of them, because by the time I got to it, there was like 400 comments already on that video. I did read every single one of them, agreed with some, didn't agree with all of them. But yeah, overall, I think the summary captured really well the feeling you're feeling and are feeling on this issue. So I thought that was a really good summary. All right, let's get to the questions. Let me go to my live Q&A tab here, and then we're going to get started. Well, there's already quite a few. So James Cox says, how does DJI detect aircraft to alert you? That's a good question. I was preparing to fly on Saturday, and air data warned me of a pilot nearby in the last hour. Flight radar 24 was negative, 600 foot out, get an alert, and the helicopter appeared. So they have an ADSB receiver on board of their aircraft that collects that data and then displays it on the screen and gives you the information. Flight Radar 24 is different. It goes through a website first. They collect the data using sources, not live sources that are nearby. Your drone uses live data from nearby information, so that's probably why you didn't see it on Flight Radar 24. That's also why we tell people, for immediate information, it's not the best way to do it. There are ways that you can build your own ADSB receiver if you know how to tinker with things and how to follow tutorials online. If you're a good do-it-yourself kind of person, then you can build your own ADSB receiver for pretty cheap. So I would recommend that if it's something that you're interested in, that you fly near busy airspace on a regular basis, then use that. Now keep in mind, not all aircraft flying at low altitude broadcast ADSB, unfortunately. So you'll get some, like this aircraft, but not necessarily all of them. Richard said, which staff member from Pilot Institute will be invited to attend EAA 2026? Would you also happen to have any information on EAA regarding drones? Pilot Institute limited edition lamp for sale. We don't know yet who's going to go to Oshkosh 2026, but the typical group of folks that go there is the same pretty much every year. So those are folks that are typically involved with sales and marketing of the brand. So, and myself. As far as limited edition lava lamps for sale, I don't know that we'll have them yet available over there. Callie says the anti-gravity A1 seems like it may have transmission issue at low altitude, only 500 meter downrange. Ooh, that's not good. Have you heard any of these issues? I have not, but to be fair, I have really not been paying attention to much of anything except this FCC stuff. That's kind of been the biggest thing on the radar. So whatever is happening with the anti-gravity is getting eaten up by other news, I would say. which kind of sucks. No, I don't know. We'll do some digging and find out. I really want to try the thing, but I just don't want to spend $2,000 to get one, especially if it's going to be a dud like this. I heard that people are having issues returning them if they don't like them, so that's a tough one. Why is the U.S. government the way that it is? Oh my God. I think that's a question for beyond this live event. But yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. What causes a remote ID error? I have seen it on my Air 3S with the RC2 remote. It clears on its own, but I have had to turn it off, everything, and then restart. Not sure what causes it necessarily, but if a restart works, then that's definitely the way to do it. Remote ID itself has a kind of a self-test to see if it's broadcasting, which is what message you get inside of the thing. So I don't know. I don't think interference would do much of anything, but yeah, I'm not sure. I have the Mavic 4 Pro, okay, Toad Pond, but still in the box unopened. Now thinking about getting the Matrice 4TD, okay. Wait, the Matrice, the TD is the thermal version of the dock for the Matrice 4. So if you're getting the 4TD, then you're getting a dock with it. Maybe you mean the 4T, which is the thermal version. Either way, I mean, it depends on what you're going to do. Obviously, the thermal is not something that's available on the Mavic 4. It's going to be available on the Matrice 4. So if you are doing work that requires thermal, the Matrice 4T is definitely by far the best platform at the moment that is available. So I would say yes. I now have I just read that, dum-dum. All right, next. Is this going to include Insta360 as well? If you're talking about the FCC, then yes, because Insta360 so let's be clear here. Anti-Gravity and Insta360 are two different companies, the way that I understand it. One might be, I don't know, I don't think Insta360 owns Anti-Gravity. I think they're working with Insta360 to put the camera on there. I might be wrong with that, but anyways, Anti-Gravity is the one that makes the A1, is a Chinese company based in Shenzhen, just like DJI is. And so yes, they are affected as much as DJI is. Although I will say that if you read through the nitty-gritty of this documentation that the FCC put out, they're adding drones manufactured outside the United States to the FCC list, but also they're adding DJI and Autel, namely by name, to the entity list as well. So the effect of this is far greater on DJI than it is on any other brand. Any other brand are only affected for their drones that are manufactured outside the United States. DJI themselves are added to the list. And it's the way that this was written. They wrote basically, we're adding every UAS manufactured outside the United States or manufactured in a foreign country. And we are also adding everything that was in 1709-1B, I think it was. And that language is where it named Autel and DJI specifically. The subtlety here is the fact that now every device that requires FCC approval for Autel and DJI is not going to be approved, which means that it affects gimbals. It affects other things, not just UAS. For every other brand that are manufacturing UAS outside the US, it affects only the UAS. So I just wanted to clarify that out there. So for Insta360, let's say that Insta360 was the brand that made the A1, even though it's not. It would only affect the UAS. It would not affect their Insta360 cameras. So in this case, you could still buy the new model of Insta360 because only the but if Anti-Gravity, the company, makes the A2, for example, that would not be allowed to come into the United States because UAS that are new UAS that are made outside the United States are added to the covered list, meaning they cannot be sold, marketed imported into the United States. All right. Next. Do you think that a good American drone will be made in 5 years? Let's be clear here. There are some great American drones that are already in existence in the United States. The gripes that people have is the fact that the majority of the drones that are sold in the United States are small, recreational / prosumer / pro drones that don't have an equivalent. There are good larger drones that are purpose-built for very specific things, not just consumer and prosumer level drone. That's the biggest gripe that people have, including ourselves. There's no Mavic, there's no Air, there's no Mini that is made by an American manufacturer that is available today, which is arguably 95+% of all the drones that are flying in the airspace today in the United States. Maybe even make it 90, I don't know, 90, 95, whatever your number is. It's the large majority of the drones. So that's the gripe. Saying that there's no good American drone, I think, is doing a disservice to some of the brands that are out there that are doing a good job at creating good purpose-built drones that are currently available. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And by the way, and we have a video that's coming out probably end of this week, early next week, where I mentioned this, but I'll mention it here as well. We hear about two American brands of drones primarily all the time, right? I'm not going to mention them, you know who they are. And those are the two that have created this issue, okay? And yes, these drones are far more expensive, quite a few times less capable than their counterparts made by DJI and Autel. And so I don't want people to think that the US industry for drones is these two brands. There is plenty more brands that are available out there that, one, did not go after DJI, that did not pay anyone to take DJI out of the market. So we cannot forget that. We cannot forget that there is other people. We cannot put everybody in the same thing. And because I see the comments and I see people saying, well, I'm never going to buy an American drone. That's not the right way to approach this. If you have a gripe with a specific brand, then fine, but don't, just like we shouldn't put every Chinese drone under the same, umbrella, or every Chinese equipment under the same umbrella, we shouldn't put every US manufacturers in the US, every UAS American manufacturers under the same umbrella. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Are you guys still doing the drone registration labels? Yes, we are. Our little our employee that takes care of these is on break right now. He's a college student, so we've been picking up the slack. And when I say we, not me, Jason has been picking up the slack, and so we fell a little bit behind. We had quite a few, and of course, people just got a lot of drones. Jason told me today, actually, when he pulled up the numbers, he said, yep, a lot of people get drones for Christmas. So we had a couple hundred stickers to do today since Christmas, and since pretty much Wednesday. And there's going to be plenty more to come. So if your registration stickers are a little bit delayed, we apologize, but that's the downside of being so popular with those. And we provide this service for free, so we try to get them done as quickly as we can, but it doesn't always take priority over every other project that we have. When can people get those? I am not going to say because I don't want Jason to be overwhelmed. pilotinstitute.com/free. That's where you get them. When will Pilot Institute be offering thermography training, and to what certification level? Stay posted. Coming soon. Just going to say that. Okay. It's definitely coming in 2026. I don't have an exact date just yet, but it is coming very soon. Class E3 and D4 start at 0 feet AGL. Okay. How high does the extension go? Okay. Class D is not an extension. Class D is always primary to the airport. Class E is the only one that is an extension. How high they actually go, it goes until the next underlying airspace. So typically, if there's nothing on top of it, then it's going to go all the way to 18,000 feet, which is where Class Alpha, Class A, starts. If there is another airspace on top of it, like Class C or Class B, for example, then it's going to stop wherever that airspace starts. Class D typically, it is a few thousand feet tall. Let's just put it this way, around 2,000-ish feet tall. Okay, I am still on the weather area in the Part 107 course, doing like 75 to 80% on the quizzes. I have been on this for a while. Holidays didn't help. Should I move to the next topic? Yeah, you can always move. The weather is kind of its own section. There's weather, and then there's weather services, where I'm going to show you how to read the TAF and the METARs and all that. If you're stuck on that portion, just move on and maybe later come back when you have a fresh brain. There's no reason to kind of stick too long on one specific section. Just passed the Part 107 exam with a 93. Awesome. Congratulations. Thank you so much. It was a great class. I'm looking to get into the drone business. Cool. Well, you're in the right spot. We have a lot of help for that. We have a great community where you can find a lot of good information as well. So make sure that you give that a shot. Is there good intel on DJI fighting the ban in court? Not speculation, but intel. Yes, there is, but I can't share any of those details that I've heard and been privy to. So nobody is going to talk. Nobody that has the intel is going to tell you what DJI is working on and doing, because it could hurt their chances in court. So I live in Dallas area and have zipline service. Okay. I don't see a remote ID signal from the zipline drones using a drone scanner app. How can I see to avoid them if I fly my drone? Visual line of sight, that's how you do it. As far as the remote ID signal, because they're operating under Part 135, it is likely that they are actually sending ADS-B data. So you might want to take a look at other services like Flight Radar 24, like we talked about before, and see if you can see them there. But you should be able to see at least either remote ID or ADS-B in that area. Question on flying recreational drones under 250 grams with prop guards. Okay to fly over a car. What about if the picture is a passenger? If the PIC is a passenger in the car? Okay. So recreational drones cannot be flown over people or over moving vehicle, period. There is no exemption. There is no waiver. There is none of that. In order to fly over people, you have to have a Part 107 and you have to fly a categorized drone. So if the PIC is a passenger in the car, does not change the rules. There's no rules under recreational rules that says you cannot fly from a moving vehicle, but you definitely cannot fly the drone over a moving vehicle, or people in moving vehicle, I should say, under recreational rules. If you're flying under Part 107, I'm going to add that. So if you're flying, the only way to do this is to fly under Part 107 using a categorized drone, meaning that the drone would have to be under 250 grams with the prop guards installed, which eliminates a lot of drones, but the Neo 2 would be an option. And you would not be able to operate from a car if you are in an area that has other people around or houses. It has to be done in an area that's pretty much empty of any cars, houses, and people. We have a drone registered Part 107 without remote ID. It's flown only in a FRIA. Okay. Can I fly it as a recreational flyers, 44809, without remote ID outside of the FRIA, also less than 250 grams? So the answer is no, and this is tricky, okay? As soon as you register the drone, regardless if it's under Part 107 or recreational, but that drone, because it is registered, now it requires to have remote ID. And even when you fly it recreationally, because the drone is registered, a drone that's registered needs to have remote ID. So the way that the remote ID regulation is written, it says a drone that is registered or needs to be registered needs to have remote ID. So in your case, unfortunately, because it's registered, because it needs to be registered under Part 107, then you need to have remote ID. If you decide to fly it under recreational rules, you would have to unregister it from the FAA website in order to not require remote ID. Yeah, sorry, that's kind of a dumb thing, but that's just the way the regulation is written. Can I get in trouble if the FAA does not recognize the serial number? I mean, there's no reason why they would not recognize the serial number, so I think you'd be fine. I don't know. I need an example. What's your opinion on the AMA's sudden concern about the new FCC ruling? In the past, I've found them unconcerned about quads. Well, the reason why they're concerned is not because they're quads. The reason they're concerned is because this new ban that was only going to affect DJI and Autel, which the AMA could not give two shits about, all of a sudden they're concerned because now this new addition of foreign-made drones affects them, because it affects every aircraft that is remote controlled that is flown in the United States. And a lot of hobby fixed wing and helicopter aircraft are use foreign-made parts and or foreign-made brands. So this is definitely going to affect their user base. Like I said, they weren't never concerned before because the AMA has never really been a big fan of multi-rotors in general. But all of a sudden, now they're concerned. Pix4D is advertising that Pilot Institute is teaching their courses. Is that available yet? Yes, it will be available in Q1 of 2026. Wait for the announcement. But yes, we are a Pix4D approved training organization. Is there an AI app that you would like to see happen for UAS operators? No, the stuff I'm excited about, you can call it AI. I don't really call it. It would be probably AI based. Is augmented reality solutions for drone pilots, and for regular and for full size aircraft pilots. What I would like to see is the ability for a pilot to have some sort of goggles or glasses that would give them an overlay of the airspace, of terrain, of obstacles, of did I say airspace? And then of aircraft that are coming into the field of view. Imagine if you were able to put those goggles on and you have a building that's right here, and behind the building there's a helicopter that's coming at low altitude. With your naked eye, obviously you cannot see that helicopter coming, but with augmented reality display on your goggles, you'd be able to see it would become a target, and it would kind of follow the aircraft as it's moving behind the building, because the goggles would know which way you're looking, it would know what altitude the aircraft is at, and then it would allow you to quickly identify it and see that there's that object coming up. I would love to have this in my aircraft when I fly, to be able to see other traffic. I can see them on my screen sometimes. In our airplane, we have an ADS-B receiver. We actually have two of them. One that's part of the airplane, one that is portable, that we display the traffic on our iPad. And sometimes I can see that there's someone on the screen, but I just cannot see them outside. I can't visualize them because seeing small aircraft is very difficult from a distance. I would love to be able to have an overlay on top of my glasses that gives me that information. So, yeah, I call it AI. To me, it's augmented reality more than AI, and I'd be really excited about that kind of stuff. FCC says critical foreign-made components will be on the list. Don't most of the US-made drone use at least one foreign-made component, making all new drones on the list at the moment? Is that true? Yes, that is correct. I mean, you can look at companies like Skydio, for example. They're using in their controller a Samsung phone. Samsung phone is a drone, is a component that is produced outside of the United States. And so there is a pathway in the memo, the FCC memo, that says that if the Department of Defense or the Department of Homeland Security approves a device, then it's okay to use. So they're basically putting, by default, everybody and everyone on that list, every component made in a foreign country, every drone made in a foreign country, added to that list until it is approved. Now, the process by which devices are going to be approved, we don't know what that looks like yet. I think we have to wait for all these great politicians to come back from recess because, they worked so hard this year that they needed to take a long break. But when they're back, I'm sure they will tell us exactly how to do this. Yeah. That's all. Nicholas says, is there an update on a shirt that you announced in one of your weekly news updates, the Don't Be That Guy shirt? Yes, Kate, who's in charge of our merch store, is going to be back next week, and we're going to start producing the Don't Be That Guy shirt. That's coming up soon. And if you're part of the premium community, actually, I'm wearing a shirt right now that is specific for the premium community. It has a cool Pilot Institute logo right here, and in the back it has a cool saying as well. If you're a member of the premium community, you're going to see those shirts coming out pretty soon as well. Do we have anyone as politicians on our side concerning the ban? Yes, there are some folks that are on our side. So not many, but there are some of them. Sparky says, what's up? What's up, Sparky? We have any news on the Avata 360 release? No. Not that I have seen, not that I have heard, but again, I've kind of been consumed nonstop on the drone side, at least, with all this stuff from the FCC. So I have not seen anything else, but we'll see. We'll see what's in the news on Friday when we do news updates. I have a Mavic Air 2 that occasionally gives a remote ID error. I don't know how, but it seems to know when it needs to have a software upgrade. Okay. Using aircraft firmware upgrade, does the firmware expire? No, I don't. Not that I have ever seen firmware expire. You can fly a drone without having it updated to the latest firmware. Should I leave DJI backups sealed until I need them, or open, activate, and update them now? I have goggles, drones, controller. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I don't see much of a risk for anything that you have. I also don't see a risk in opening them and activating them. That's really up to you. So, yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, the batteries. I mean, the batteries are going to sit anyway, regardless. So, yeah, I don't know that I have a pro or a con either way. Can someone give me an in short for all of this? I still can't wrap my head around it. So everything 2026 can be DJI. So here's the deal. Every future model that has not been approved by the FCC so far, made outside of the United States, will not be able to come into the United States, be sold into the marketed, sold, imported into the United States until the Department of Defense or the Department of Homeland Security rubber stamps it. Okay, so you can say DJI, Autel. You can name every brand of drone manufacturers in the world except American ones. Every brand of drone except American ones. Any new model that they want to bring into the United States are going to have to be rubber stamped if they have not been approved by the FCC already. Now, you mentioned DJI. The last model that has been approved for DJI is a model that we don't have yet, which is the Insta360, the Avata 360. Once the Avata 360 is officially the last model that we will see in the United States for the time being, until this is reversed, canceled, paid for, whatever you want to, whatever happens. That's the last known. So the Mini 5 has been approved. The Mavic 4 has been approved. The Mini 6, we're not going to get here in the US. It's not going to get FCC approved. The Mavic 5 is not going to get approved, and anything else afterwards. But that's also true of every other brand that is not an American brand. Parrot, if they come up with an Anafi 2026, whatever you want to call it, would not be approved unless it is rubber stamped by the Department of Defense or the Department of Homeland Security. So there you have it. Better question is, will there be a good one that isn't $18,000 with $18,000 with the functionality of a DJI Mini? So I'm going to give, well, maybe I should shut up. So, I don't know. No, it's not a mean thing. It's a realistic thing. It's a market projection. I do not foresee an American manufacturer being interested in making a consumer drone anytime soon. Okay. The reason I don't want to say it because it's dark. It's not positive. I just don't see an American manufacturer being interested in taking on that market because, and I'll tell you why, because the parts to build a Mavic are the same parts, more or less, that to build a Mavic that you can sell for $2,000, $5,000, let's say $8,000. Okay, let's assume that it's going to be more expensive. We know it's going to be more expensive. Let's say it's an $8,000 Mavic or a $7,000 Mavic. Those parts are the exact same parts that the same manufacturer can use to build a drone for the US government or for public safety that they're going to be able to sell for $20,000. Would you rather sell 4 drones at $5,000 each or 1 drone for $20,000? When the cost of the parts, the motors, the arms, the plastic, the camera, the battery, they're more or less going to be the same cost, okay? Where's your motivation as a manufacturer? You would have 5 customers that potentially can break that drone or 1 customer that can potentially break that drone. Any day of the week, anybody smart is going to take the 1 drone at $20,000 as a company because it makes more sense, okay? They only have to deal with 1 customer. They only have to sell 1 drone. They only have to build 1 drone, and it's going to be a lot easier. So that's why I'm saying that I don't see any company willing to go in here. Now you might say, well, why in the world did DJI do it? Well, they did it because they have over time built the capability of building these drones. Also, DJI has the ability to sell these drones all over the world. An American manufacturer likely is only going to be selling this drone in the United States because that's the only market where they're not going to be competing with DJI. Every other market where they could sell the volume to make enough money to do this, they won't be able to do it because they're always going to be competing against DJI. So that's my take. It's not a positive take. Is it something that we can use and say, hey, it's been 2 years. We still don't have a competition for DJI in the United States. You promised us that there would be an equivalent drone available. It's still not there. Then what do? We know from our data that about half of you can go, I think it's roughly half, can go for another 2 years. maybe less with your current drone. So we've got a little bit of time before this becomes a major issue. Obviously, a lot of you are also going to buy drones outside the United States. The gray market is still going to be there for current DJI models. The black market is going to be going on full swing to buy future DJI models that are not approved by the FCC. People are still going to buy them. People are still going to fly them because, I'll tell you why. Because there's not going to be another model available to compete with it. And so when people have to decide between continue to feed their family and make money with their drone by buying a black market drone versus not making money and not feeding their family, they're going to pick the black market anytime, any day. Okay. And so, anyway, I don't know where I was going with this, but you've got it. The black market, yeah, it's DJIBlackmarket.com.
Okay.
Don't buy that domain, please. I'm going to go buy it as soon as I hang up here. Potensic, Atom 2 and Skyrover X1 are thoughts, any thoughts, which way you would lean to? The Skyrover is basically a Mini 4 in disguise, so I would definitely go with that one. Potensic is okay. It's not, I don't think it's as good as a DJI drone, but if I had to buy the option between all of these two, I would get the Skyrover. If I need to keep going because there's still a lot of questions. Let me see. If UAS pilots need remote ID, why aren't all manned aircraft required to have ADS-B? Worked in the wildlife fire of 2024 and noticing that most of the aircraft over the fire were not broadcasting. Yeah, that's been a point of contention for a long time. The availability of technology to equip certain aircraft with ADS-B just wasn't there. So it was very difficult to find ADS-B equipment that you could install on an aircraft that doesn't have electrical system, for example. That doesn't explain what you're seeing, which is manned aircraft over fires. These are government aircraft typically, and they're allowed to not have ADS-B. ADS-B is not required in every location. Keep in mind that ADS-B was never designed to be a conspicuity device for low altitude. It was designed to be a conspicuity device for aircraft that are flying in busy airspace at altitudes at which manned aircraft typically fly, which is, above 1,000, 2,000 feet AGL, above ground level. So the technology was never designed to be a way for drone pilots to see manned aircraft. Let's just put it this way. With DJI opening manufacturing in the United States and getting all their parts here, and the problem, they would have to get parts made in the United States and build their drones in the United States, at which point it might solve the issue. But remember that none of this has anything to do with security, with anything that we've been told it is about. This is about getting rid of DJI because it's competition. So if you think about it this way, them opening manufacturing in the US, could that solve their issue? On paper, maybe. But also remember that they were named specifically in the NDAA documentation, which means that now, because of 1709 in the NDAA of 2024, because of that language, they have been added by name, not just UAS manufactured outside the United States. It's specifically DJI equipment that is added to the list. So it's going to make it a lot more difficult for them to be out. Now, if you take any other company, let's say Parrot, I like to pick Parrot because it's a pretty big company that makes drones and they're from a friendly country and they're from an ally, I should say, from an ally. And if they decided to make some of their drones in the United States, which I think some of them are already made here, then for them it would be a lot easier to do that. So anyways, I digress. How does the American drone company getting away with the new FCC rules, being pretty sure their internals are coming from a foreign source for chips? Well, we don't know how they're getting away with anything right now, but like I said, there is a process where some components, critical components, as they're called in that document, are going to be allowed to be brought in to the United States and used, even though they're foreign components, as long as the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security is able to do that, and that's it, department. Will current models of DJI always be available to purchase in the United States? Does the government ruling only apply to new models that are introduced and need certification? At the moment, only new models that need certification. Old models are not affected, can still be sold, used, marketed, blah, 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 in the United States. Over water, should you always disable the downwind vision sensor? Is maintaining manual control of altitude, flying at a safe height? I would always be careful with reflective surfaces, water being one of them. I would definitely not trust the auto altitude, and I would definitely fly manually and not fly super close. There's no reason really to fly that close to the water, so I would keep it just high enough. Is it true that I heard that all imported drones are on the list currently, and does it go further than just drones? I think I've answered that question earlier. At the moment, all new drones manufactured outside the United States are going to be affected. Current drones are not affected. Anything other than drones only applies to DJI and Autel. So DJI gimbals, for example, are affected, but gimbals from other manufacturers are not affected. It makes sense of that. Let's see. Was kind of wondering if that is why it was within the FCC ruling, but wasn't sure if that's how they were getting around. I don't know what that comment is.
That's a reply to a previous question.
Oh, okay. Are we going to be able to buy non-US drones for commercial use or not? Finishing up the course and waiting to get the drone. Yeah, like I said, every drone that is currently available, currently FCC approved from any brand, can be purchased, used for commercial purposes, for recreational purposes. Only future models are affected. I was a field service tech, but was injured and need to find light work. Is there anything in the drone space that still be viable to start in 2026? Former FPV pilot. Yeah, this, by the way, does not change the opportunities available to provide drone services to customers out in the United States. None of this does. You can still fly drones, all drones. You can still fly existing drones. You can still buy them. The reason people are worried about this is how it is going to affect the next 2 years, the next 3 years, because it is going to have an effect on the supply of parts and drones in the future. But at the moment, there's really no reason not to start a drone business, just like you did 6 months ago or a year ago. So yeah, I would say absolutely keep at it. I bought the 241 Part 107 blah 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 back in 2023. I finally have some free time. Is it still available? Yep. Our courses are lifetime access, so you can log into the platform and you'll be able to see your course. I'm going to go quicker here because we still have a lot of questions. Looking down the road a year, assuming the foreign drone ban remains, what drone platform would you recommend that has the ability to swap payload? It's hard to tell right now. Ask me again in 3 months or in 2 months once we have a better understanding of how the process is going to be to get foreign drones approved. But at the moment, swapping payload, very, very few people that do this right and do this well. But there are definitely options. The more niche you get, the more options you're going to get with American-made drones and foreign-made drones that are not DJI. In the course, you mentioned the wedding party you want to fly over and take pictures of. If an enclosed area is a part of it, can you fly over? In an enclosed area that has a roof, the FAA rules don't apply, so you can do whatever you want. It's a moot point, but lots of YouTube creators fly drones from and above moving vehicles. How do they not get flagged? You know, it's all fun and games until shit hits the fan. And so, you know, you can drive 100 miles an hour on the highway until you get caught. You can drive 100 miles an hour on the highway until you hit something and crash and burn. It's all fun and games until shit hits the fan. The day that you're flying over moving vehicles and you lose a propeller, you lose a battery, a bird hits your drone and it falls down in traffic, then you're going to have to answer to someone, and that's going to be the NTSB and the FAA. And the insurance for that for that person that you hit, the insurance for the people that hit that person that get hit. You're basically going to have a chain reaction of insurance claim on your ass because you flew your drone over moving vehicles without thinking about the consequences. That's all I'm going to say. And guess what? Even if you have insurance, your insurance company is going to say, well, we don't cover if you break FAA regulation, and you just did. Can I get a promo code for the Drone Mapping Foundation? I don't know that we have a promo code at the moment, but regardless, it is a good deal as it is right now, with or without a promo code. Tons of value. I can guarantee you that if you follow the steps and you go through all of this, you will make that money back in no time. I bought an extra DJI Air 3S and never flew or registered it yet. Will it be a problem registering it now that some drones get banned? Nope. Again, this does not affect former already approved drones, so not a problem. Being in Arizona, have you seen any of the YouTube videos by 2A related, Second Amendment related channels regarding the best ammo for shooting drones down? Nope. I'm a gun guy, but isn't that very illegal? Yes, it is illegal to shoot drones. I have not seen any of these videos, but yep, not the brightest thing to do. Does the Avata 360 get new goggles too? I have not seen any rumors on that, so I'm not sure. Okay, 10 more minutes. We still have a lot of questions. Amazon was selling the DJI Mini 5 Pro in the US, but DJI will not sell their service care to it because the DJI Mini 5 Pro is not available from the DJI store in the US. Any other service options? There are more and more people that are setting up shop that will service DJI drones. So I recommend looking that up online. And but yeah, that, like you said, the care refresh, it's what it's called, from DJI is not available. Is it really a ban through? Is it really a ban? Although if the DoD and the DHS approve it, then the FCC can take over and approve it. I mean, it is. People call it a ban. It's being added to the entity list, which will prevent people. The covered list, which will prevent companies from getting their models approved. So you call it whatever you want, a ban or whatever, but there is a process to bypass that addition to the entity list if the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security deems it, maybe it's an audit. You know, that thing that we never got, that little audit, which, no, I'm not even going to get there. I don't have time. Could they do something like they're doing with TikTok, where DJI would have a US-based subsidiary business? That is not what happened with TikTok. TikTok is still operating the way that it did before. It's just that somebody decided not to implement the rules that were in place and enforce the rules that were in place. So, Greg for president? No, thank you. Do you think current DJI drones will go down in price since they can mass produce them for cheaper? No. If anything, DJI drones in the United States are going to become more valuable because they're going to be harder to be found. So I think it's quite the opposite. What kind of jobs could be done in a small town with a drone? I asked a realtor one time and they did not seem very interested. The sky's the limit. Use your imagination. Look at what other people are providing for services. There's a lot of things that drones can do. So it's up to you to figure out what is the demand, how can you fill that demand, solve a problem using a drone. Okay? It sounds like DJI 360 drone is close to market. Do you think they will make it to the US market? No, I do not believe the Avata 360 will be sold directly on the DJI website. I'm going to tell you what we've seen with the Mini 5 and the Mavic 4 Pro, which is DJI releases the drone in the United States officially, just does not sell it through their website. It will be available through other distributors in the United States. That's my prediction at the very least. What prop guards do you recommend for the Mavic 4 Pro? Interesting. I plan on applying for a waiver to fly in a TFR in southern Portland to get footage of their public transit. I don't know, actually. Maybe somebody in the chat has experience with prop guards for the Mavic 4, but I unfortunately do not. What's a good recommendation for a flashing anti-collision light for night flying for a small drone like the Mini 3 Pro? The Arc 5 is still our favorite. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Arc 5. My company bought a DJI Mini 5 Pro. Okay. No, DJI Mini 5 off eBay, and I'm learning Part 107 so I can fly for them. Am I screwed if I try to fly it commercially? Nope, you're good. Should I get rid of and for Mini? No, Mini 5 Pro is already approved by the FCC. You can fly it legally in the United States and fly it for commercial purposes in the United States. You're good to go. Since the Avata 360 is FCC registered, would it be possible to order it from eBay on the day it goes on sale? Yep, absolutely. Just like we have a Neo 2, we have a Mini 5 Pro, we have a Mavic 4. These drones are available, just not directly on the DJI website. If you know where to look, you will be able to find them. Have any recreational fixed-wing regulation change in 2025? Nope. In the FAA, by the way, doesn't look at fixed wing regulation versus multi-rotors. It's UAS regulation. There has not been any changes in FAA regulation in Part 107 or recreational rules in 2025. So it's still the same as 2024, which is when we saw a couple changes. But no, you're good. You're good to go. And yeah. All right, 2 more questions, 5 minutes. Okay, I guess I did pretty good on here. When will all of my drone implode and DJI Care Refresh cover it? Good question. If you listen to the FCC, apparently your drone is able to unfold itself, put a battery in itself, go outside, take off, and become a swarm without your consent, without your knowledge, in the middle of the night. For all you know, your drone is doing, what was that Pixar movie with the toys, Toy Story, is pulling a Toy Story on you and just going outside and having a joyride, coming back, probably putting the battery back on the charger, charging itself. You'll never know. And in the meantime, it's taking pictures of very bad things and sending it back to China. Yeah.
Is that covered by refresh?
That's not covered by refresh if it happens. No, unfortunately. Is it okay to fly? Okay, to fly one quarter what? Away from a house fire? Quarter mile. I mean, quarter mile is pretty short. I would stay away from these kind of things. I would use, if you have like a 7X on your drone or 5X, I would use that to be as far away as possible. Just keep in mind that they might be bringing helicopters to look around. They might be bringing other drones to look around. Just don't be in their way of doing their job. So I would say, climb up, look at what's going on, and then go back down. Don't do a big circling around. Just stay in one location, look for other traffic around you, and then stay a distance away where 5X or 7X is good enough to get all that stuff. Somebody says that is the funniest shit I've ever heard. Yeah, it would be funny if it wasn't what's in the FCC freaking documentation, official documentation, where they're telling us that the drug cartels are using foreign-made drones as if they're not going to be using any freaking drone that is available, as if they're just buying these because they're foreign-made drones. Are there going to be restrictions to American-made drones that prevent them from taking off if it's flown by the cartel? Do you have to give your ID and take a picture beforehand? Yeah, how much does that cost? And the swarm thing, I was freaking joking, but I'm not. They did mention in there that these drones could be used as a swarm. You got to tell me, you got to help me understand how my drone, most of our drones that are in the room, couple doors away over here, are connected to a controller that is never connected to the internet when we are outside. As a matter of fact, even when we're inside, it's not connected to the internet. How are you going to take over my drone that is not connected to anything? It doesn't have a SIM card in it, unless they're able to miniaturize a SIM card that nobody knows where it is, and take over. And then when you take over my drone that doesn't have a bomb on it, doesn't have a payload, doesn't have anything bad on it, it has a freaking battery, it has maybe 30 minutes of flight time at this altitude, what are you going to do with it when I'm flying in the middle of Prescott, Arizona? You're going to fly it to Watson Lake, you're going to fly it and do what, a kamikaze into a power line? That's not going to do anything. Drones hit power lines all the time. They don't fall down. What is my drone going to do when China takes it over from China without an internet connection, using mind control? Somebody has to explain to me the risk. Maybe I'm just being dumb. Maybe I'm just being, I don't know, I'm not seeing something, but you got...
Have you watched Stranger Things?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. You got to explain to me how they're doing all of this, and how, yeah, somebody has to educate me. I'm sorry. I'm just not seeing it. All right. Well, it's 5 o'clock. It's December 29th. Again, thank you all for being here. I know a lot of you have questions. I know a lot of you are worried. I am somewhat worried for the future of drone availability in this country. I'm not worried about the next 6 months. I'm not worried about the next year even. We can survive with the gray market, with current existing drones. It sucks that we're not going to get officially the next model of DJI in the United States. We are still going to get it. I know a lot of you are still going to be able to buy the DJI Mavic 5 because you're going to find a way to get it. Yes, I'm worried because this sucks, and it's annoying because it sends the wrong signal. But I also know that everybody's very crafty. I'm also very proud, like I said early on in this video, of all of your reactions to the video, seeing through the bullshit, seeing through all of what this really is. Nobody is fooled in this industry. Nobody is fooled in this industry. All of you that are watching are not fooled. And that makes me really proud. That makes me very hopeful for the future of this industry, because I know people are going to fight back. I know people are going to be crafty. They're going to find a way to make this happen. And so I have a positive outlook on this. It sucks right now, but we're going to make it through, and we're going to show them that this industry can survive and thrive, even through all the bullshit. So thanks for watching. Happy New Year. Fly safely. Please don't be that guy. As always, we'll be here on Friday for a news update. And as always, yeah, we'll see you next year for another live Q&A with, I'm sure, a lot of questions about the FCC. And see you next time.